I survived 100 days in Minecraft, but if I die just once, my whole world gets deleted. If you do enjoy this video, please subscribe as it would really mean the world. But without further ado, let's get into the video. When I spawned in the world, the first thing I did was went and found a tree. The main goal of this whole series is not to die. And if I die, I have to delete the world. The first thing I wanted to try and get was a village. Now, if I found a village, what I would do is I would trade with the villagers over and over with stick and then get infinite emeralds and then get diamond armor. But before I could even get to the village, I needed to find cobblestone, get myself some tools and some iron. When I found the village, the first thing I wanted to do was trap the villagers so that they couldn't escape and no zombies could kill them. After my first sleep of the whole save, I decided to try and make a hole so that I could put all the villagers in. I then put beds in the hole so that when it turned night, the villagers would go in the hole, sleep, and they'd be stuck. For some reason, day 3 I was AFK, so day 4 I put down dirt and farmed it so that the farmer could breed with all the other villagers. Day 5 I made fletching tables so I could trade sticks with the fletchers to get infinite emeralds. To make farming trees more efficient, I went and found a jungle biome so that I could get larger trees to make it a lot easier to farm logs. To help with villagers breeding, I farmed up all of the wheat, gave it to the farmer so that I could get more villagers. The next 10 or so days it was very boring. I just kept farming all the jungle trees, making them into dicks and selling them to the fletchers. Finally, the first villager babies were born, so this means I can start preparing to get diamond armor and diamond tools from them. To trade with the blacksmiths I had to go and get some iron, which is why I went to mine. To make this villager breeding thing more efficient, I got a loom and made a shepherd so that I could get infinite beds and then I could just keep breeding forever and ever. Finally, I got a toolsmith so I could get diamond tools. I then used these tools to make things more efficient and mined a lot more jungle woods. Day 12, I got a butcher so that I could get infinite pork chops as well, so this just made my life a lot more sustainable. My main goal of this whole world was to become completely sustainable from the beginning, and I didn't have to go mining. The reason for this is because if I did go mining, it was more likely I was going to die rather than just sitting in a hole and trading with villagers. I really needed more villagers, so I expanded the farm and then I went to another village to collect more hay bales. 18 days in and I finally got diamond armor. It probably would have been that tiny bit quicker if I actually went into the mines, but trading with villagers is so much easier. Day 21 I made a nether portal so I could go to the nether and just go and find a nether fortress hopefully. When I came through to the nether, it wasn't actually a bad spawn because I'd be able to get a lot of things from here, including when I got onto the nether roof, I could make a farm to get pork chops as well. Only about 100 blocks away, there was a bastion right there. I tried to get something from it, but it was very dangerous considering I only had like protection 1. I then went home, went to sleep, and started decorating the area that I was in. Already things look a lot nicer with the paths I've put in. It looks a lot more bigger and it's also easier to see where I'm going. I then started to flatten off an area to put my chest house in. Majority of the chest house was built out of jungle logs. I then went to try and find some cows so that I could make an enchanting table so that I could start preparing to go to the end and making my armor a lot better than what it already is. And day 27 I decided to trade with some villagers so that I could try and get protection. And then to feed the cows I made a bit of a wheat farm and a path to the wheat farm. I then decorated the outside to make it more of a cliff and went to bed into day 30. Day 30 I started adding a roof to the house, and then I moved the nether portal to where I was living. I then went to the nether to try and find some endermen to get some ender pearls. I then made a shield and then went to fight some blazes so that I could make some eye of enders to go and find the end portal. After I got enough I headed home and traded with a cleric to get some ender pearls. Day 35 I got my eyes of ender and tried to track down the end portal. When I found the end portal, I put in the Enderize, but I wasn't going to go fight the Ender Dragon just yet. I needed to do some other things to prepare. I then found a library and started to break down the books so that I could trade with the villagers, and I could also take the bookshelves to use for my enchanting table. Day 37, I arrived home and started mining because I needed to start filling out my chest full of coal and iron and gold and other stuff. I then went round and started gathering up all the resources to make the enchanting table. I got the obsidian and the book, and then I also mined the 2 diamonds. I then dug out enough space in one of the villager huts so I could put my enchanting table, and it would be quite nice to have in the village. Day 41, I had everything prepared to go and fight the Ender Dragon. And also, after I fought the Ender Dragon, I could go out and try and find an elytra. First thing I did was built up and started breaking out all of the end crystals so that the Ender Dragon couldn't heal. This is one of the closest moments I got to death in the whole save. But luckily, I had the Ender Pearl and the water bucket, which really did save me. This is another very close moment to death, because if he hit me only slightly harder, I would have flown off the map and died completely. And then moments later, after only recovering my health slightly, I almost died again. But the Ender Pearl got me down to half a heart, and I managed to survive. And finally, the Ender Dragon has been killed. Some people complete their 100 days here, but I'm only on day 41, so there was a lot more for me to do. First thing I did was head to the end portal and go and try and find an end city. I reached out to another end island and found the end city only about 2,000 blocks away. I then enderpearled onto the end ship, and then I went to get the elytra. After a little bit more end raiding, I decided to go home because there wasn't much else I could do. With the excess XP levels I had, I decided to try and make a maxed out bow and also enchant some other things I had. From that moment up until day 49, I gathered some materials and then I started building a gunpowder farm. This gunpowder farm isn't the most efficient, but it will do for now, but I will make one in the future that is a lot more efficient. I then built up so that I could AFK, get a lot of gunpowder, and then I can come back and go end raiding and do some other things with the gunpowder I got. After AFKing, this is how much gunpowder I got. It's quite a lot considering how small the farm is. After getting the gunpowder, I decided to try to get a mending book for my elytra so that I wouldn't have to worry about them breaking. I then also went to try and get an unbreaking book, and then I combined both of these onto my elytra. I then made some firework rockets, and this is the first time I managed to fly. After flying, I got my head straight and started to do some more productive things. I went and made another tunnel so that I could get to my end portal a lot quicker, so that I can do end raiding and get shulker boxes and more elytras and then more diamond gear. And it would be a lot more safer to go through the nether tunnel rather than going through the nether itself. I then went back to the end to try and get some more diamond armor and elytras. I came back and this is everything I got from about 5 end cities. I then coloured all my shulker boxes so it's a lot easier to understand which one's which, and then also I organised them, and this is my tools and armour box. The next thing I did is started to gather up materials so I could go and make an enderman farm. I then started building out from the end island, and then for some reason I went AFK whilst coming down this water stream, which I really could have died from. Luckily I saved myself though. I then started building this enderman farm so that I get a lot of XP, so that I can get maxed out gear and be a lot more protected. Day 70, I then started enchanting all my gear. And day 71, I went back home, collected some beds from the villager, and then started mining for netherite. This was a very lucky first bed because I got 3 netherite from it. After that, on day 72, I came home and started smelting all the netherite I gathered. With that netherite, I then upgraded all my gear. And then once again, I went out and gathered more netherite for the rest of my tools. At this point, I needed more fireworks, so the only thing I was lacking was sugarcane, which is why I built quite a big sugarcane farm. After placing all the sugarcane, I needed to get some sand so that it would be easier to mine netherite using TNT. I then used the TNT and got quite a lot of netherite. After getting the achievement covered in debris, I then went mining. Day 79, I was very bored, so I went and tried to get some wither skeleton skulls, and my first wither skeleton, I got one. It was very easy actually to get these wither skeleton skulls. I got them within about 30 wither skeletons, and I got 3 wither skeleton skulls very quick. Day 81, I went home and tried to fight the wither underground. I then got the nether star, went home and made the beacon. For the beacon to actually work, I actually needed about 3 stacks of emerald blocks, and I was nowhere near that, and I wasn't ever going to get near that within the 100 days. So what I did is I just started making a little bit of progress by mining a lot of jungle trees and trading them to the villagers again for more emeralds. For the next 12 days, I was AFKing at the gunpowder farm for something I'm going to do big in the next video. This is how much gunpowder I got. And finished building the sugarcane farm and filled up the whole sugarcane farm full with sugarcane. And this was it, day 100. And the first thing I did was sit down and look over this absolutely atrocious world I've made. I then went and spoke to my villagers and looked around my world to assess everything I've done. But that's it, 100 days of Minecraft.